Hello, and welcome back to a new season of Halfway with Hathaway. Season 3 begins right now, where it's half the noise, all the sports, done the Hathaway. Super excited to have everybody here. I did a whole new rebrand of the podcast, new logo, new intro. I mean, I love that slogan. I hope you guys do too. So, very excited about where the rebrand's going to be kind of going and how I'm kind of going to take it to the next level. Going to be doing a lot more interaction with the fans, new posts, and new content coming along every which way. So, today we're going to be discussing the NFL season. A big trade just went down. I literally was at the gym and I sped home and I was like, I need to record a new podcast because this is absolutely amazing. This trade, you could have seen it coming, but I'll get more into that soon. We'll dive into some college football matchups, some big ones to look out for as week one is underway this weekend. Go over who you should be picking for your fantasy team, who I like on my fantasy team. I'll be sharing that with you, some sleepers as well. The Red Sox owning the Yankees once again. Nothing else is new. And of course, I'll be giving you my parlays with a new segment called Hathaway's Hot Hands. So first, before I just get started, a little bit of a life update. I know I haven't been, doing a lot of podcasting. My last one was in January with the college football national championship happening in the semifinals. But now I really want to get back into the swing of things. I did publish a new book. I have it right here. It's called The Basketball Capital of the World. Very excited about this book. It took about a year to make. I'm super excited about how it turned out. It's about 175 pages and it goes into what UConn men's basketball has been doing. It's very historic, and that's why I really wanted to write the book. Only three teams have ever gone back to back winning national championships. So I dive into a lot of what kind of happened in this book, and what made it possible for UConn to go back to back. And very excited. I did a lot of interviews with players, coaches, and a little bit of my own, outside opinions kind of going into it. So it's not just all like just facts and stats and everything like that. There's a lot of analysis that goes into the book as well. But I'm super excited with how it turned out. I independently published it, came out in July, but I thought I'd just kind of give you all an update about my book, what I've been working on. Super excited. I mean, the cover looks absolutely beautiful. I'm super excited with how it really turned out. You have one national championship trophy on the front cover, and then you turn it over on the back cover. There's the second one that they won. A little bit, of poetry, right? A lot of people say sports can be very poetic, and in the sense that I wanted to also make my book a little bit poetic, right? You go back to back with the back and the front cover as well. I guess that's just like my understanding and my process of making it that way. But yeah, no, I independently published it. A lot of the pictures in this book. Is what I kind of took myself. So a lot of everything that I've done is through me. And I'm super excited about this. Like I said, it came out in July. It's on Amazon. You guys can check it out. I'll have the link down below as well for everybody to take a look at. But like I said, very super excited for this book. It's my pride and joy. I was doing an interview not too long ago, maybe 3, 4 weeks ago. And, somebody asked me, is like, how did I feel after I did this? What was like my process through it all? And with that book, I felt very self-accomplished through it. That's not something that you can do right overnight. Yeah, writing a book, it takes a lot of time, a lot of preparation. And so, through that, I was very excited, and, very humbled with the outcome of everything. Very grateful, through perseverance, going through a lot of life things, I was able to accomplish something. Not a lot of people can say they've written a book before. So that's why I was like, I kept it secret. I really told nobody, not even like my parents, my family, because I just didn't want it to be like, yeah, guys, I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book. And then everyone asking me, oh, how's the book going? And I never finished it, right? I didn't want to come off as somebody who can't accomplish something. So that's why I really kept it in secret. And once I kind of saw the vision for everything, I was very excited about how it turned out. And I was like, okay, I can see it's almost done. And then I just kept working a little bit more. And then I saw the finished product. and I'm very, very excited about how it turned out. So I love what I did. I'm super excited. So go check it out. It's called The Basketball Capital of the World. You can look it up on Amazon. You can type in my name, George Hathaway, in the search bar, and you'll see it there. And so, yeah, I mean, it was the number one new release book for like 3 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row, actually. So, very excited about how it turned out. I'll be having some deals kind of coming through soon as the college basketball season starts to begin. I will be doing a lot of like promotions on the book, just for the gift of the season, right? College basketball starting up very soon in October, only a few months away. So, very excited about that. And yeah, so that's just what's kind of been going on in life. Uh, like I said, very excited about how everything turned out. So as we kind of transition over, another cool thing that I have is this awesome George Costanza bobblehead that I got from the Seinfeld night at Yankee Stadium a few weeks ago. Super, I love this. The only reason why I actually went to a Yankees game was to get this bobblehead, actually. Um, and so I love it. I absolutely, if anybody who knows me knows I love Seinfeld, by the way. Um, and so, yeah, George Costanza is one of my favorite characters on the show. I waited in line for about 3 hours for the bobblehead. And, a good friend of mine, Justin, he gave me some good tips on how to kind of go about bobblehead day at Yankee Stadium because I don't know if you've seen the pictures or anything like that, but for Aaron Judge bobblehead day, the line was at 9 a.m. starting. So I was like, oh gosh, I have to, hit the train early to be able to get it. And I was glad because they're only giving out 17,000 of these. So I was glad I was one of the lucky few to get it. But yeah, so that was a long day though. Took the train about 12, got the stadium around 2. And the line wasn't that bad actually once I got there. I guess because I got there at 2 p.m. So that's probably why. And the gates open at 5, so it's 3 hours. It's just kind of standing in line. But I made friends with people in front of me, people behind me. And that's how you have to do it, right? To kill time, you have to be able to kind of situate yourself with people, get to know them. Of course, did self promotion for the book because why not? Of course, right? You have that opportunity, you're gonna take it, right? And so, everybody was super nice to me in line, just kind of chatting, chilling. Um, and so I was very happy with it. A lot of people wanted to resell it though. Like I think I saw some resales going for like $300 for this bobblehead, which is absolutely insane. And so when I was there in line, I was like, okay, I need to get a bag to kind of hide that I got one because people in the stadium were asking like, oh, you have a bobblehead, let me take that from you, or like, let me buy it off of you for like $100. And it's just like, I didn't want to deal with any of that. So I was just like, let me put it in a bag, put it away so nobody can think that I have, you know, the bobblehead so they can try to take it from me. Because I saw some people like stealing it from people. It was insane. But I mean, I guess that's New York for you, right? I don't know. But no, I love it. This is a great bobblehead. Also, a great scene in Seinfeld, if you haven't seen it. Like I said, absolutely love the show. That's like my go-to show to watch when I'm going to bed. It's Seinfeld or How I Met Your Mother, but mostly Seinfeld. Like I said, my favorite show of all time. Um, I mean, not my of all time. I would say like Breaking Bad's pretty good, and then Peaky Blinders. I love that show. Um, but yeah, I would say Seinfeld's really up there, top three favorite show of all time. I mean, when you look at like the major league standings, AL leaders, you have Toronto, Detroit, and Houston. They're at the top. And then in the wild card, you have Boston, who's 2.5 games back from Toronto. They've been on a 4-game win streak at the time of this recording. So the Red Sox are probably one of the hottest teams in Major League Baseball right now. The Yankees are in the wild card, and then Seattle as well. So, but what I think for Boston though is that this really reminds me of 2021 when they went to the American League Championship Series against the Houston Astros. So that was fun. I mean, I went to so many games because I was still in college at that point. So, and I went to college at Dean College for those who don't know, and that was maybe just like an hour, maybe 45 minutes away from Boston. So I was able to kind of drive right up to the stadium, and I was a part of Student Nines as well, where I got $9 tickets. I love how I loved how it was I was able to go to a lot of the playoff games in 2021. But that's the same energy I'm getting from Boston right now. Is that 2021 energy, right? The team looks complete. I love Roman Anthony. Unfortunately, I wasn't at that game where he hit that home run against the Yankees, his first home run at Yankee Stadium. So, but still, I was able to watch the Red Sox win against the Yankees for George Costanza bobblehead night, and I was very happy there. Um, I mean, Yankees fans weren't too happy, but at least we all booed for Aaron Boone. At least we can agree upon that Aaron Boone should have been fired, I think, after last World Series, at the end of last season when the Yankees lost to the Dodgers. Everybody, I think, would agree with me. I don't know why they are still employing Aaron Boone because he's not a good manager for the New York Yankees. But when we go over to the NL now, you look at the NL leaders. You have Milwaukee, the Dodgers, and the Phillies. They're at the top of the standings there for the NL. And then the wild card, you have the Chicago Cubs, San Diego Padres, who are 2.5 games back from the Dodgers. So again, you're looking at that the standings, I mean, those could change in a week, right? And so same thing with Boston. It can change just like that. And with baseball, it comes and goes. There's streaks that are involved, right? And so that's what's great about baseball, right? You could have a team that is hot at the beginning of the season, and then you kind of cool off by the All-Star break. I know the Red Sox, they went on a 10-game win streak leading up to the All-Star break. And then you could cool off after that. And then somebody else can jump in and take that spot. Boston most certainly can do that. They've been a team this year that can go on like a 10-game win streak, cool off for maybe half a month, a few series, and then they can bounce back right again. You see that right now with, they won 3 out of 4 in New York, and then they swept the Orioles. So again, they're going to play the Pirates in Boston this weekend. So potentially you could look at a 7-game win streak, right? The Pirates aren't that good, but shout out my boy Mike Burrows. He's a great pitcher for the Pirates. We went to high school together. I remember actually the day he got drafted by the Pirates, I was sitting in photography class and everybody was just waiting for that notification. I mean, he was not too far down the hall from me when that call came. So super excited for how he's been playing. Him and Paul Skeens have been amazing together. So would love to get Mike on the podcast at some point, just because, we went to high school together. We knew each other. So that's why. But where was I? Yeah. So San Diego, 2.5 games back from the Dodgers. Then the New York Mets as well in that wild card, and then Cincinnati, who's 4.5 games back on the outside, kind of looking in a little bit there. So same thing with the Texas Rangers, 4.5 games back from that AL wild card spot. Again, it's all about those streaks, right? How can you find the hot? You'd rather be hot towards the end of the season and sneak your way into a wild card game. So again, that's what's beautiful about baseball. You have such a long season where what you do at the beginning does not reflect what's going to happen at the end of the season. Where like football, where you only have, 18 weeks, 17 games to go make a difference out there, where 2 games in the beginning of the season, 3 games in the beginning of the season may cost you a a wild card spot or playoff berth when it comes to the NFL. So again, baseball, long season, you can be able to make those runs going into it. But yeah, speaking of football, a huge trade just happened, one that was very much anticipated. Micah Parsons traded to the Green Bay Packers for Kenny Clark and 2 first-round draft picks, and they signed him for 4 years, 188 million dollars. I think it's 136 million dollars guaranteed. Blockbuster, right? And I think the situation that's happening in Dallas is all Jerry Jones' fault. He is the reason why the Dallas Cowboys are irrelevant now and were irrelevant in the early 2000s, but they're living off of those Super Bowl championships in the 90s, right? That's embarrassing, right? You have America's team, and I put that in quotation marks for a reason because, well, the Cowboys are going to be the Cowboys. They're not America's team. In my opinion, may sound biased because, yeah, you can see the pictures behind me of Randy Moss and Teddy Bruschi, but the Patriots are America's team. They're a team that's won six Super Bowls since 2000. That's America's team, right? They're Patriots. Also, like a little play on words with America's team, right? So to me, Cowboys aren't America's team. Jerry Jones needs to go. Like somebody, they have to collectively come together and be like, yeah, Jerry Jones needs to go. He can't be a GM. He can still own the team, but I don't think he should have control over what is kind of going on with the team, right? He can't be dealing with all the trades and all the signings and the money because Micah Parsons deserves to be one of the highest paid players in the NFL. Let's just get that out of the way. He's like 12 plus sacks in 4 out of 5 seasons so far. So, I mean, he's been absolutely phenomenal. Probably one of the best defensive players we've seen since Lawrence Taylor is Micah Parsons, in my opinion, right? So he deserves to get money. But if you're not going to pay your best player, of course you're going to see him walk. And I think what also it's a domino effect is going to trickle down. If the Cowboys did not pay Dak Prescott so much money, I don't think this would have happened. It's that what if, in hindsight, should the Cowboys have paid Dak Prescott more money than let's be honest, what he deserves, right? Dak Prescott hasn't been that good. He's been a mediocre quarterback for the Cowboys. So I think that with Dallas, they messed up big time there. And so there's that, right? I did pick up the Green Bay Packers for my fantasy defense like 20 minutes ago. Now I was like, I need to hop on this. The Vikings are my starting defensive team, but I truly do believe that the Packers would be a good backup. They could move up slowly but surely. And I'm just now looking at my fantasy lineup going forward. I'm in a dynasty team on Sleeper, so I got to keep the same team as last year. My team came in second place, lost in the championship game, unfortunately. However, I was able to keep a big part of my team, and I'm super excited. I did make some blockbuster trades, I will be honest. I did trade AJ Brown for a haul, actually. I did trade T. Higgins as well or I'm sorry, I traded Jamar Chase for T. Higgins in another haul that I got. So I did make some moves. My picks are pretty stacked up. I'm not gonna lie. I think I have 4 picks in the 2026 draft that we have, and then like 5 in 2027, and then 3 in 2028. So my starting QB is Lamar Jackson. Saquon Barkley's my RB1. Josh Jacobs, RB2. T. Higgins and Nico Collins are my wide receivers. George Kittle, my tight end. Derrick Henry and Mike Evans are both as my flex. I did get asked a lot from Mike Evans, but he's so consistent that's why I want to keep him on my team. He consistently can put up 1,000 receiving yards in a season. Can average me 13, 15 fantasy points a game. So he's somebody who you can truly rely on. And then I have Brandon Aubrey, and like I mentioned earlier, the Minnesota Vikings as my defense. And then for my bench, like I said, my bench is really loaded. I'm not gonna lie. I could probably trade a lot of these players for decent like picks or players, but I want to keep my team, right? This is my core. And I think about it, right? I'm not Jerry Jones. I think of myself as a really good general manager for my fantasy team. I care about these guys every single day. Justin Herbert's my backup QB. I did have Patrick Mahomes as my backup. However, I did include him in the trade, I believe, for Derrick Henry. Um, so, you got to do what you got to do. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is a good fantasy quarterback. That's in my opinion. I don't think he's that good. I see him similar to Tom Brady, where it's like, yes, he's probably one of the best in the NFL. However, he's not going to get you a lot of fantasy points day in and day out. So that's why I picked up Justin Herbert. I also have Chris Rodriguez as my running back on my bench, with the trade that Washington made. So with Brian Robinson Jr. a few weeks ago, that's why I kind of added him to the team because I was like, oh, could be a decent running back, could be RB2 on that Washington Commanders team. Aaron Jones, another running back who I have on my bench, a guy who I could move around a little bit. Same with Jerome Ford. He's on my bench. Rashid Shaheed, he's also on my bench, along with Zay Flowers, another guy who I could move. But again, that's a good backup, right? What you run into that what if situation, right? What if somebody gets hurt? What if one of my starters, gets suspended for whatever reason, right? So again, you run into those what ifs. Hunter Henry, my backup tight end, and then Chase McLaughlin and the Green Bay Packers as my backup kicker in defense. Tank Dell is on my IR, right? Again, you run into that what if. So he's on my IR. And then this is why I love Sleeper. You can have a taxi squad. I have a bunch of guys who just got put on that 53-man roster. Ollie Gordon, Trey Harris, and I love Efton Chisholm. He really is one of my favorite rookies and undrafted free agents that were picked up. I think of him as a combination of Danny Amendola, Wes Welker, and Julian Edelman all combined into one, right? That short receiver for the New England Patriots who isn't afraid to get hit right up the middle. He can run those good slant routes for you. He's able to get open with some speed. But yeah, he gives me that same energy as Julian Edelman did when he was in New England. So that's why I had to pick him up. Because who knows what could happen in the future with the New England Patriots in their receiving core. That's always kind of been iffy these last few seasons. I know you have Stephon Diggs, but I mean, still, I think Efton Chisholm going to be a great addition for any fantasy team going forward. That's some guy you want to maybe get off the waivers. Not somebody who want to draft. If you want to draft maybe later in the draft, however, that's a guy you want to pick up off the waivers if that's what you're looking to do. So I love my fantasy team. I truly believe this fantasy team can make a run to the national champ to win the Super Bowl in my fantasy league, right? I came in second last year, like I said. Very devastating loss, by the way. It was pretty close. So, it comes down to all three aspects, right? Bill Belichick said it himself. Comes down to all three aspects. My kicking sold me. So I believe it was. I believe my kicker was the same. Um, I I gotta take a look. Yeah, it was Brendan Aubrey. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, so Brandon Aubrey was my backup or my starting kicker, and he sold me in the championship game. He missed a field goal, made an extra point, so I didn't get any points from that. So that's why, yeah, Dallas. Am I right? That's what I get for drafting a kicker out of Dallas. But still, uh, could have won that. But it all comes down to all three aspects, right? You have to be able to execute the level, right? Your special teams needs to be on point, which it wasn't in my fantasy championship game. You need to have a good defense that's strong. That's why I like Minnesota. They're very valuable. I picked up Green Bay, like I said, just because of the Micah Parsons trade. They could be a really good defense. The Packers are really up and coming. They signed Jordan Love to an extension last season, so they don't have to really worry about the money aspect, right? And giving up two first-round draft picks, I think's a win for Green Bay. And for this sense and this point that I'm going to make. So the reason why I think that the Green Bay giving up two firsts is a win for Green Bay is because they're probably going to be in the playoffs, right? You're looking at a 20 to 25 draft pick. That's where they're probably going to land with how well they've been playing the last few seasons without Micah Parsons being on the team. So, like, are you really losing out for that? They could make some more trades by the trade deadline, or they could try to move up in that draft on draft night. So you never know, but still, right? If you're a team that makes the playoffs, you want to kind of keep that core there. You could really get somebody good in that second round if you really wanted to. So that's why I think for Green Bay, of course, adding Micah Parsons is going to elevate that defense to the next level. Sticking on the gridiron, talking a little bit of college football. It's Lee Corso's last college game day coming up on Saturday. Very sad. Lee Corso, one of the best in the industry when it comes to like that broadcast personality that you love to see. And he made it so much fun. He really brought that game day energy to College Game Day, the TV show. So I think that, with the headgear picks and just trying to make it rowdy, make it seem like it's an actual prep rally for a college team and that energy that embodies that college football energy and experience that you want to live. Yes, Lee Corso, one of the best in the business. They're going to be at Ohio State for the Texas Ohio State game, the 1 seed versus the 3 seed week 1. Oh, you love to see it. Am I right? So, with that being said, Brutus, the Ohio State Buckeyes mascot, was his first headgear that he put on. So, I think that it will be his last, right? I talked about it earlier in the show. Sports are so poetic in that sense where, could Ohio State make that upset at home against the 1 seed, the reigning national champions, right? So I think Brutus will be his last headgear pick. It was his first, it will be his last. A good storybook ending for the great Lee Corso. Absolutely amazing. But yeah, that's my thought on the Lee Corso headgear pick, right? I think everybody's really talking about that right now, is who Lee Corso is going to pick. But you have number one Texas at number three Ohio State, the reigning national champions. I just said that just a few moments ago. You have a lot of these top 10 matchups week 1, and you love to see it when it comes to these like non-conference games, right? And so early in the season as well. Number 9 LSU at number 4 Clemson, another great week 1 game. And then you have number 6 Notre Dame at number 10, the U, Miami. So those are some really notable games. There's a ton. There's some going on right now at the time of this recording. College football is back. You love to see it. I love college football so much. And that's where I'm going to kind of transition to my parlays. New segment, Hathaway's Hot Hands. So for my hot hands, I'm taking Michigan State money line, Tennessee money line, Alabama money line, Clemson money line, Notre Dame -2.5. All these odds are brought to you by DraftKings, and so those are my picks for this weekend. I love I'm not saying to go do it, but when it comes to college football and the NFL, I love making these crazy parlays for them. It's one of my favorite things to do. So those are my picks. Once again, Michigan State money line, Tennessee money line, Alabama money line, Clemson money line, Notre Dame -2.5. All these odds brought to you by DraftKings. So really excited for this new revamp of the podcast. Excited for the transition that it's going into. I'm going to be doing this a lot more. Like I said, life kind of got in the way earlier where I couldn't be doing this as much. My last podcast was January, right before the college football semifinals and the national championship game. So I'm glad to be able to do this again and bring you guys that same energy. So yeah, just remember, half the noise, all the sports, done the Hathaway. I'll catch you all next week.